So today we're going to look at multiplying and dividing integers. So we should know that if we multiply opposite signs, so let's say negative times positive, the answer should be negative. But if we multiply like signs, let's say negative times negative, they're like signs, they're the same signs, you end up with positive. So multiplying the same signs, you end up with positive. Multiplying opposite signs, you end up with negative. So if we look at question number 1, and I'm going to start answering these questions right here. So if you look just for the sign, negative times positive, opposite sign, so that gives you negative. And then that negative times a negative gives you positive. There's also another trick. The trick is when it's multiplication and division, count how many negatives you have. So if you have an odd number of negatives, then the answer should be negative. But if you have an even number of negatives, then your answer should be positive. So here, if we look how many negatives we look at how many negatives we have 1, 2. So that's an even number of negatives. So your answer should be positive. And then you just multiply the numbers. So 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 6 is 72. So that's your answer. Now let's go here. How many negatives do we have? We have 1, 2, 3 negatives. So that's an odd number of negatives when we're multiplying. So your answer should be negative. When the number of negatives in the question is odd, your answer should be negative. And then just multiply the numbers. So here, 8 times 5 is 40. 10 times 2 is 20. 20 times 40 is 800. You could jump around with the multiplication. You could have some of you would say 5 times 8 is 40, times 2 is 80, times 10 is 800. I just went 5 times 8 is 40, 10 times 2 is 20, 40 times 20 is 80, 800, sorry. So whatever is works for you. But just make sure the ambiguity of the sign, get rid of that right away. So 3 negatives, that's an odd number of negatives. The answer is negative. Now just ignore the sign. So all you're concerned with now is multiplying just those numbers right here. The same thing with division. You know, whatever applies applies to multiplication, also applies to division. So negative divided by negative, 2 like signs that give you positive. Also, you could count how many negatives we have. We have 2 negatives. That's an even number of negatives. So your answer should be positive. 18 divided by 2. Sorry, if 18 divided by 9 is 2. Bingo. Now here, with this question, honestly, you count how many negatives here. We have 4 negatives. That's an even number of negatives. So your answer should be positive. Here, you could multiply the tops together and write the top, and then multiply the bottoms together and multiply and write the bottom, and then reduce later. But the problem with that, your numbers get very big on you. So it's very tough to see what reduces and how to reduce them. But from here, once you determine what the sign is and it's positive, you ignore the signs. Now you just focus on the numbers. You could reduce from here. So whatever way you want to reduce. So you could go 4 goes into itself once, goes into 12 3 times. 8 goes into itself once, it goes into 24 3 times. We have 3 and 3 here. So both of them go and themselves one time kind of thing. So you have 1 times 1 on top and 1 times 1 on the bottom. So 1 over 1 is just going to be 1. Of course, as I said, like after you determine what your sign is going to be, just ignore the signs. You don't have to look at them again. Okay. We're going to do a few more questions with order of operations. So I'm just going to write them down. So when we're doing order of operations, we have to remember BEDMAS. So it means brackets first, or what's inside the brackets first, exponents second, division and multiplication third, adding and subtraction fourth. So you have to do it in that order fashion, kind of. So to start answering these questions here, if you look at the first question here, you have a plus right here, but you have these 2 are divided and these 2 are multiplied. So you have to do these 2 first, And this is the second thing you're going to do. So 8 divided by -4, positive divided by negative is negative, so it gives you -2 plus, and here -2 times -11, it's just positive 22, so it's just plus 22. And that will give you -2 plus 22, it just gives you 20. So this is done. I'm just gonna put a brackets around the 11 there that I forgot to write. Now, this here, order of operations, you gotta do these first, because it's a minus sign right there, then these. So what you have -36 divided by -4, negative divided by negative, like signs gives you positive, and that's a 9. Your minus, and then 6 times -5 is -30. Oops. Divided by +3. Now, of course, you got to do this here, which gives you 9 minus, and -30 divided by 3 is -10. So I put it in brackets because you remember from last lesson, as I said, when you have two signs besides one another like this, if they are like signs, they just become positive, which means if the signs are the same, they just become plus instead. So 9 plus 10, which is 19. Last one, we'll keep the 4 outside because we have to do what's in the brackets first. And what's in the brackets, you just have to do this first, and this, and then this, and keep your signs here, the plus and minus. So -11 times -2, that's going to be positive 22, plus -6 times positive 3, is just give -6 times positive 3 is just going to give you -18. And then minus 4 times 4 is just 16, which gives me 4 still. And then inside the brackets, I don't like the brackets the way they're written, so I'm just going to change this to 22. Sorry, I mean how the signs are. So positive and negative, they are different signs. They always give you minus 18 plus, oh, sorry, and then minus, and this a plus that we don't write, so just minus 16, which equals 4. 22 minus 18 is negative, sorry, 22 minus 18 is positive 4. Positive 4 minus 16 is -12. And 4 times -12 is -48. This is it. That's all I'm going to do for integers. We're going to go to fractions after that involve negative signs on the denominator, numerators, and all of that. That's a different thing altogether, but it's related to integers. So till next time, stay safe. Math is like a puzzle, and puzzles are fun to solve. Till next time, bye-bye.